What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And today we have, no one expected this one. So not only are they giving us a new legend batch, which is typical, right? But it's not one legend, it's not two legends. It looks like it's going to be three Sugofest exclusives in one batch. Now, this is something that we kind of had a feeling this was going to happen, and not in terms of three legends, but in terms of the theme. If you actually look at the treasure map boosted list, like, they give you a little bit of a tease in terms of characters that are boosted in the upcoming TM, and a lot of Zoro characters are boosted. So people had theories that, we're going to have something in regards to this. But three legends in one badge? Like, come on, dude. Like, what are we talking about here? This is a little ridiculous. So we've got Alber, Mr. One, and Dracula Mihawk. And I will say, artwork-wise, it looks phenomenal. But, of course, if the characters aren't that good, then, who really cares, right? So let's have a look. Typically, end-of-month batches are not going to be that exciting. Sometimes, randomly, they'll have a character that's really good, but I'm not expecting much, is what I'm saying here. I'm not expecting these characters to be game-breaking by any sense, but I hope I'm proven wrong. Remember, this is going to be a typical end-of-month batch, so these characters should be boosted or be available in the future, and be readily available in the future. But look, we're really, really close to the 11th anniversary. Like, it's literally, like, what, a month and, like, 2 weeks away? So I would suggest most people out there to skip this Sugofest altogether. Without further ado, let's actually get into this one. So we've got Alber, Decisive Deadly Duel. So this character here is that strength? Let me just zoom in real quick to the icon. I literally cannot see. I'm blind as a bat. He might be Dex. We'll see it in just a second. We're gonna see it. Hang on a second. Let me just go back here. It says it right here. Dex / driven. Okay, interesting. So let's have a look at this key point. It says, let me zoom in so you guys can see exactly what's going on. He has a final tap Sugo special and a super type that can be activated even as a crewmate. That's very good. His special applies 30% resistance to all types and becomes more powerful when there are 5 or more characters of a specific class on the crew. Okay, interesting. He does have a super Rumble special, which is interesting. He's a defense style unit in Rumble, but he's a Dex driven unit. Dex driven, he might be actually kind of in line with versus Kaido. That actually would be kind of sick if he's more versus Kaido support. Let's see. Special ability sets all enemies to defense to 0 for 1 turn. And applies ignited status to all enemies, ignoring immunity to all status effects. Okay, this is worded a little bit differently. So it looks like the ignited status goes through full immunity, but the defense, well, it says defense to 0 for 1 turn, comma, and then also ignite for 1 turn, ignoring immunity. So it looks like the defense reduction doesn't go through full immunity, which kind of sucks, because that would be insane through immunity. Ignite through immunity is very good. So it does 100 times enemies attack. Okay, nothing really too crazy. Reduces burn duration by 7 turns. Not a great debuff removal, to be honest, because, like, a lot of the times you can just, tap your way out of not hitting perfects for burn. Obviously, it is dependent on the composition of the team and the content you're going up against, but burn removal is not that powerful. Reducing resilience by 7, again, like, that's fine, but, like, there's a lot of ways around resilience, so that's not that big of a deal. He applies 30% resistance down to all types. That's actually really cool. It means that, basically everyone essentially on your team will get a 30% damage bonus, okay? And then if 5 or more slashers are on the crew, boost slasher and driven characters advantageous class effect. Yes, okay, that's very good. That's very good, of course, because every time we have new content coming out, advantageous class effect is a thing, and this is just a way now to get a ton more additional damage for Slasher and Driven. This is going to be very good for Slasher Driven Super Boss. Okay, I'm digging this. If 5 or more Driven characters are on the crew, applies weakened status to all enemies for 1 turn, increases damage taken by 1.5. So the weakened status doesn't go through immunity. That do be a shame. Want to pull up the database real quick, because I wanted to have actually another look at versus Kaido. I don't remember off the top of my head if versus Kaido actually does increase damage taken. If he does, then that would be pretty cool, working in tandem with this new Alber character. But even still, the fact that his defense down and his weakness debuff don't go through full immunity is a bit of a problem. Actually, I wanted to go, if 5 more slashers on the crew, so you need to have a full team of slashers in order, well, almost a full team of slashers in order to actually get the slasher and driven advantageous class effect. Not really a big fan of that. That's kind of annoying. Let's see. Versus Kaido. This guy right here with his special ability, which is the second one. So yeah, he does inflict all enemies with increased damage taken. So that does make sense with Alber. But like his special is fine. It's just the fact that this doesn't go through full immunity and this doesn't go through full immunity. Yeah, it's fine. You know, it's just okay. Like I'm not saying he's completely game breaking, but let's read the rest of the effect here. Captain ability is going to give Slasher Driven 1.5 health, 5.25 times attack, 5.75 with the Dex Recovery Tandem or Wano, makes Dex Recovery Tandem matching, slightly boosts the chances of landing on a matching slot, quick slots will become Wano slots, reduces crew's bind and despair duration by 10 turns. It's honestly pretty good. Pretty good captain ability. Crewmate ability increases the increased damage taken by 0.2 if you tap with Wano. I'm assuming that he will have a way to generate a Wano slot for himself, probably from his super class or super type. Okay, let's move on to the super type. When one or more of the following characters are on the crew, Zoro or Kaido. Okay, pretty easy to activate. Changes Dex to Super Dex, right column slots including block to Wano. Unless they're tandem. Interesting. Okay. So, right column slots will become tandem, basically guaranteed, will become Wano guaranteed. But if you have tandem slots, he keeps the tandem slots. That's pretty cool. Lock slots for 1 turn, but only half your team gets the slot change. Lock slots for 1 turn. Boost the attack of the next final tap by 30%. Okay, I kind of looked past the final tap. I really hope it's not one of the ones. You guys already know what I'm talking about, right? Just don't do it. Don't do it. At the final battle, when 4 or more slashers are driven on the crew, excluding this character, and during the turn when this character uses a special. So it has to be final battle. You have to have a class character requirement. You need 4 or more slashers driven, and you need this character to be using his special. Changes character slot to Wano with the final tab. Add 0.5 of damage dealt by normal attacks of other characters this turn on top of the final damage. Okay. Changes the crew's attack multiplier of Wano slots to 3.25 when they match. Yo, okay, this is actually good. This is actually good. And you know how I mentioned before, like, having a special ability like this that can give advantageous class effect? I mean, this working with Zoro and Sanji, oh my god, this is going to be disgusting, dude. It's going to be disgusting. But that on top of this final tap, like actually having a good final tap now with that, that's actually kind of sick. Alright, I'm digging it. I like it. The only thing so I like this character's build, honestly. I think it's actually pretty decent. It just feels like the special is a little underwhelming. I just think that there needed to be more damage increasing effects somewhere, or more crazier utility, because as it stands now, it's kind of like whatever. I actually kind of dig the captain ability too. Like, there's a lot going on here that I like. Support effect to any slasher. Oh, really? Oh my god, that's so bad. Okay, moving on. Rumble, 20 CT. Remember, he's a defensive style unit. Let's see. He gets provoke and a counter for 15 seconds. Slasher driven get defense 6. Self HP 500 healing during intervals. And if 8 or more slasher or driven characters are on the team, target one enemy with high HP for 5,000 damage. For a 20 CT, it's not a bad special. Being able to cycle this over and over again could actually be quite good. Yeah, he seems fine. The Super Rumble special, you need to be hit just once by a Rumble special. That's really good. Provoke, and then a bigger counter, bigger defense, more healing, and then more damage. I mean, this seems really, really good. And of course, you need the full investments in order for this to be good. The Rumble ability, slasher driven, 6 health, 6 defense, 6 speed. If you got 8 or more of those characters, you give himself a shield. Pretty good. He does not have a burst. Okay, I think this character is pretty solid. Starting off with that special, he seemed very underwhelming, but after going through everything, I think this character is pretty solid. For a generic end of month character, he's solid. He's a super solid unit. If I had to rate him out of 10, I think like 10 being like a god tier unit, 1 being absolutely useless. He's probably in the range of like a 6 or a 7, but we'll have to wait and see, because I think that this character, he has a lot of potential in like a super boss scenario, right? I think he has very high potential. We'll have to wait and see, though. I think he's actually quite interesting. I kind of dig him, okay? Let's move on to the next one, which is Dracul Mihawk, a greatest swordsman awaiting the young. Weird title there. But anyways, Dracul Mihawk is going to be a Psi Slasher Cerebral. Okie dokie. A Psi Mihawk legend. Pretty cool. He has Super Tandem. Alright. He has a Super Tandem and a Super Class that can be activated even as a crewmate. His special ignore enemies' immunity to all status effects and increase damage taken by 2x. Okay, so this works with the Alber as we talked about earlier. Okay. But Alber can work with Kaido, or he can work with this Mihawk. Let's see. Special ability. 25% health cut that goes through defensive effects. Attack down by 7, and then reduces the damage threshold, it looks like, by 7 turns. Okay, that's pretty good utility. Gives you 2 times increased damage taken for 2 turns, ignoring immunity. That's very good. If you have an attack boost when you launch the special, Slasher and Cerebral get a tap timing chain growth up to 0.7 for 2 turns. Otherwise, Slasher and Cerebral get a 3 times attack boost for 2 turns. And it says this effect can be applied up to 2 times. What does that even mean? This effect can be applied up to 2 times? Does this mean that it can be buffed twice? Or is this just like saying that you can use 2 attack boosts? I don't know. That seems a little wonky. But it seems, what is the potential ability? He's got crit and he also has special use limit. What was the other potential ability with Alber? The same. Okay. Right. Huh. Okay. Special ability has good utility, tap timing, attack boost. I mean, it's fine. Again, like, the special abilities in this batch are not wowing me. Let's move on to the captain. -2 turns for special charge time versus gauge and switch effect gauge. That's pretty sick. We need more characters that do this. Slasher Cerebral 1.5 HP, 5.25 times attack, 6x until you land a non-perfect. So very similar actually to version 1 Mihawk. Very, very similar kind of attack boost there. Side recovery tandem matching, 0.2 to the chain, that's cool. If you use a special to give yourself an attack boost, extend the duration of that by 1 turn. So he actually gives a 3 times attack boost for 3 turns, okay. Not a great captain though, like no crazy utility, but he has a lot of the cooldowns, so the best use for him as a captain is to have him on the crew and then switch him out with a captain shift so that you actually have a usable captain would be the best way forward with him. Not a great captain though, but in terms of damage, definitely a lot better than Alber because higher multiplier and the passive chain increase is quite good. And then you also get additional resistance with his crewmate ability, tapping with Saitan and Wano. Okay, very cool. Let's have a look at the super class first. So you need either a Zora or a Shanks to activate it, and it can be used as a crewmate like Alber. Super Slasher, 25% HP recovery. Cool. Boost the color affinity of Slasher and Cerebral characters by 1.5 times. That can be overwritten. Changes character slot including block into tandem, so you can actually trigger the super tandem ability. Prevents character slot from being changed until you land a perfect. Fine. I wish that this was until you land a great. That probably would have been better. Boost the attack of the next final tap by 25%. Okay, so just making the final tap of Alber hit even harder if you have the entire batch. I get it. Okay, let's move on to the super tandem ability. At the final battle, 1 or more hold on. If this reads correctly, you just need to, it's a 1 tap with Zora or a 1 tap with Shanks? Yo. And at 10th anniversary, Shanks 2 has great synergy with this. Yo. It's kind of good. That's kind of good. Because you can use the super class of this guy, right? And he gives you a 1.5 times color affinity boost that can be overwritten. And then we pull up Shanks real quick. This guy right here. And his special says that if you have color affinity when you launch the special, you get a chain boundary for 2 turns. Oh my god. And then Mihawk gives you all the chain buffs as well. So you use Mihawk super class, you get color affinity. This special, you'll get the chain boundary, and then you'll also get this ability to activate as well, which is an override from Mihawk's effect. And then, as we talked about with Mihawk, with his special ability, he gives you tap timing chain buff. His captain ability also gives you more chain buff, which stacks with the chain boundary. Like, literally perfect synergy there with the 10th anniversary Shanks. And then, if this is a 1-tap super tandem, to get a 2.25 times attack boost, and also further increasing the final tap of the next unit as well via that super tandem. Shoosh! That's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. I like Mihawk a lot. Good synergy there with the Shanks. Yeah, very, very interesting. So I wonder if we're going to get like a new Zoro in the future. Like a really powerful new Zoro that's going to stack really well with all these guys. We'll have to wait and see. But Mihawk seems fine. Mihawk seems good. But again, like, how often are you going to use this guy? Like, let's be real. Like, are you going to use this guy in like a super boss sense? I don't know. Like, I think Alber is definitely better in a super boss scenario because his buffs that he gives the crew are more unique and harder to apply compared to what Mihawk is doing. Because Mihawk is just providing pretty typical abilities. Of course, he does have good utility, which is nice. And the super tandem, I guess, is the big draw. If you can get this maxed out, this is a very powerful ability that you can use. And then the super class ability is a really powerful effect that can stack well with Shanks. Is it going to stack well with another Zoro in the future? We'll have to wait and see, but interesting stuff. Okay, so the Rumble 39 CT is very high. Slasher Cerebral, level 8 attack, targets all enemies for 1.3 ignoring defense, target one high defense enemy for 1.3 ignoring defense. Okay, I understand why it's high, but 39, dude, that's crazy high, dude. Holy crap. Alright, and then the Super Rumble special. You have to be hit twice with a special, more attack, and you get defense buff. And then 1.7 damage, damn. Yeah, I mean, he's going to hit really hard. If you get this guy to 150... man, this guy's going to be a beast. Absolute beast. Let's have a look at the Rumble ability. Slasher Cerebral, 7 HP, 7 defense, self-crit, self-blow away when you land a crit, special C. Ooh, hold up. Okay. I get what they're aiming for here. What I will say, though, is that critical strike in Rumble is pretty bad. It doesn't really give you that much damage because it doesn't affect your special damage. It only affects your normal attack damage. And then blow away percent up can really screw up your attacks as well because it blows away the enemy, which if you have a group of enemies together, that's typically what you want as characters that are not guaranteeing hits. You know, if they're in a specific range, having the enemies grouped together is better. But if you're blowing them away, you're just screwing up the whole grouping of the enemies, which can be a problem. However, saying all of that, every time he crits or blows away an enemy, he's giving himself CT increase, which makes this special launch faster. So the more he stays on the field, you definitely would want to run this guy on the front line. You know, stay there as long as possible, continuously land crits. Having increased speed is going to be interesting and work really, really well for this guy because the faster he is, the more normal attacks he'll perform, and that's actually going to be important for this guy. Very, very interesting. Okay, so Mihawk, he's going to be a hard-hitting unit in Rumble. Very interesting synergies as we talked about in this video. Very, very interesting. Great partner for that 10th anniversary Shanks. Okay, interesting stuff. Now, we do have one more character to talk about, which is Mr. One, Unrestricted Slashers. So this is actually Daz Bones' first SugoFest exclusive character coming in the game. Crazy stuff. Let's see what he's all about. So the weird thing is that he is also a Super Tandem character. It feels a little strange in a batch such as this to have a Final Tap, a Super Tandem, and then another Super Tandem unit. I think Rush would have made way more sense, but hey, look, I don't make these units, so let's see. He's a Quick Slasher driven. He has a Super Tandem and a Super Class that can be activated as a crewmate. His Captain ability boosts the attack of slashers and driven characters during the final tap of the next turn whenever a driven or a slasher character uses a special. Alright, we're going to have to see a little bit more in regards to what that means. Okay, so the special ability reduces the top right and the middle right character special charge time by 2 turns. What kind of crazy special is that? Okay, that's already like a little sus. Not really a big fan of that. Reduces all enemies' damage reduction by 3? Only 3 turns? Okay, I'm already not liking Mr. One. Changes character slot, his own slot, including block into tandem, ignoring inability to change Wano slots. Okay, that's good. Launches the following effect based on the special launch status. Hold up, this could be good. So on the first special launch, whenever you launch it, it will boost slasher-driven attack by 2.75 for 2 turns, and if 5 or more slashers or 5 or more driven are on the crew, reduces special charge time by 13 turns, and then set his special launch status to 1, so you can actually double special launch. And if you use it, it will reduce bind duration by 7 turns, a 30% slasher and driven resistance to all enemies for 1 turn. It's a lot of additional damage. And if the crew has attack or boost when you launch the special, further increase those buffs by 0.5 and extend them. So he's definitely more of a support role, a character that's going to give you some interesting abilities. We haven't seen any orb boost in this batch. We've seen attack boost with Mihawk, and we've seen an attack boost with this guy. We haven't seen an orb boost yet. Maybe from his super class. Probably we'll see. Interesting though. Very odd. Like these abilities, this is like really low, and then this affecting only 2 units on your crew. Not a big fan of that. This should have been at least 5 turns. Probably this should have been at least doubled, and then this one should have been more than just 2 units. But we'll see. Maybe we're missing something. Let's see. Captain ability here reduces slasher and driven special cooldown by 2. 1.35 health, 5.75 when you have a matching slot, 5.5 otherwise, tandem slots or matching, 25% damage reduction, adds 5% attack to slasher driven crewmate's next final tap. Can be launched up to 10 times for like 50% bonus, 5 times in a single turn. Both effects will count, blah 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 blah. So, adds 5% attack to slasher and driven characters. And I assume that's if you use a special. It just says adds % attack to slasher and driven characters or crewmates next final tap. It doesn't say how you get it though, so I'm assuming it's whenever you launch a special. If the final tap attack boost effect activates before the final battle, effect accumulates until the final battle. At the start of the final battle, applies a final tap attack boost based on the accumulated value. Oh, okay, I get what they're saying here. So that buff where it will add final tap damage, this can still trigger even when you don't trigger an actual final tap. This just means that whenever you do like 6 taps, whenever you do that last tap on your team for a turn and you hit the last perfect or whatever, it will apply that additional damage bonus. And what this is saying is that if you do happen to trigger the final tap bonus damage when you're not on the final stage, you will actually store the value and then reapply it when you reach the final stage. So that's actually pretty interesting. It's a new mechanic for sure, but like, let's be real, how valuable actually is this? I don't think it's very good. I get what they're aiming to do with this batch, but it's just not valuable enough. Like, you're not really going to build, like, in a super boss sense around doing this. It's just not that valuable enough to run this character, to do all of those abilities. Very, very weird. Crewmate ability, if you have a territory, you add 0.2 to the chain minimum. Again, this batch doesn't have anything to do with it, so I'm expecting there to be a high-level Zoro character come out in the future. Or technically, like, versus Shanks, he applies a slasher territory, so technically he could work with these guys. We'll see. His super tandem effect, when 1 or more following characters are on the crew. Okay, that's very good. So it looks like it also is a 1-tap super tandem, and this can trigger with a lot of units. Reduces damage reduction effect by 1 turn. Remove 1 turn of Rainbow Shield and 2.25 times attack. I mean, it's fine. A 1-tap super tandem is always a good thing to have. Super class ability. So you need a Crocodile or a Zoro. You get Super Slasher. Allows crew slot effect boost to be further increased up to 2 times. HP guard is always good to see. And then boost the attack of the next final tap performed by a slasher or a driven character by 20%. Makes sense, makes sense. But again, he allows orb boost to be buffed 2 times. I don't recall there. I don't remember there being one. Yeah, I'm literally control F'ing this page, and there is nothing here that actually buffs your orb boosts. So, I mean, unless if they have a plan for another character to come out. Obviously, there's going to be a rare recruit in this batch, probably like a rare recruit Zoro or something that gives you a big orb boost would be my assumption, so that this actually all synergizes. But yeah, really, really weird stuff. Let's have a look at his Rumble. So what is he classified in Rumble? He's a debuffer style unit, and his cooldown is 17. Targets 2 enemies with high HP for a 30% health cut, level 5 damage over time, and if you have 6 or more slashes, he gives us level 5 shield. That's pretty good. You need to be hit twice to trigger the super special, and then it's 3 characters, 50% health cut, level 10 dot damage. That's good. And then if you've got the slashes, you get the level 8 shield instead. Quick type slasher class teammates, 6 attack, 6 HP, slashes, and fighter class enemies attack down level 6. Whenever you take damage up to 3 times, gives himself a defensive increase. I don't know if this guy's going to actually see play, but a 17 cooldown to get 2 30% health cuts and level 5 dot damage, it's okay. It's alright. I think Mr. One is definitely the character that I dislike the most out of this batch. Not really that excited about this one at all. I think the synergies with Mihawk look really, really cool, and I think Alber looks really solid too. I like his design as well. He's got an interesting special that could work well in a super boss sense. He's got a good captain ability with good utility as well. I think it's a very cool batch, but like, yeah, 3 legends in one release is a little crazy. You can see that this batch is going to be dropping on the 28th, so do keep that in mind. Remember that, you know, we're very, very close to the 11th anniversary, so I feel like at this point you should be conserving your rainbow gems. But hey, very, very interesting batch to say the least. So that's going to wrap it up from me. Love to hear your thoughts and opinions about this one. 3 legends in a batch, man. That's absolutely crazy, dude. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.